There's a 72 Ghia. Starting to clean everything out. It's a little lunchbox. Some parts in it. Distributor. What are we doing here? Yeah, another tail light. 72 had, I guess, this stupidly long tail light, and then clutch. I'm sure that's good. And there's a bunch of accelerator cables. That's an earlier fuel pump. Cute. We also got this motor with the Karmann Ghia. It turns over too. I think it's either 1500 or 1300. Yeah. Wiper motor. June of 02. I would have been alive. That's awesome. This original has it. Tool set. These ones have a little bit different gauge cluster than the earlier Ghias. A little bit uglier, actually. Connection. Oh, glove box. Oh, sweet. Got the front hood emblem. Just a ton of parts. Some visors. So let's see if this motor turns over. It does turn over. Rounded up a good distributor. We just need to find one plug wire and clean this up a little bit before we try to run it and adjust the valves. Go from there. We also need to find a carburetor. It did come with a carb, but I don't know if it's any good. Alright, so in the car was this Solex 34 pick 3. It's got a little bit of the gasket kind of going away, so I'm just going to put a new one on, and then I also found intake gasket to put on the bottom because there was no intake gasket. And then I'll just have to find some bolts for the bottom. This should just be 213s. So I'm going to take the top off now and put that new gasket on. Alright, let's throw this carburetor on. Alright, I put a distributor in. Now I'm gonna get it to top dead center on number 1 and check all the valves. Alright, now let's check our Alright, now let's get these terminals all cleaned up. So right now I'm hooking up starter switch to the starter back here, so I took the wheel off. I think there is an ignition problem because I hooked this up the other day and it cranked over. So we're gonna try it again. I stole the battery out of the Volvo and let's see what she does. Alright, I'm back today and let's steal the Volvo battery again. And I got some gas finally, so we're gonna put some gas in the carb and see if it'll run. Okay, now get that down in there, and let's hook up our battery. I'll throw in a little bit of oil. Quite a loud pop. Okay, I kind of want to pop this open and see if our distributor rotor is still spinning. If I can get to it. See there, our rotor is spinning. So that's good. And then our points should be opening and closing, and they are. Alright, I'm pulling one of these plugs out to see if we're getting spark. Alright, so I pulled one of the plugs and we're getting spark. I think our timing's off, so I pulled the cap on the distributor again, and now I'm gonna do the timing. I'm gonna put it to number 1 cylinder. Okay, so now it should be pointing to number 1 cylinder. Now I'm gonna take my test light and ground it somewhere. I'll just ground it on the car right there, and then I'm gonna clip this alligator clip to the negative side of the coil. I'm gonna loosen the distributor hold down clamp with the 10mm, and plug my battery in and turn the key on. So there we go. The light lit up. That means we're at top dead center. So with that all timed, let's try it again. So I picked up some new plugs, and I'm gonna set the gap to 0.28. All right, let's try this. New plugs are in. All right, back to working on the Ghia today. I got spark. I don't know why, but it's not firing still. It'll do a little cough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the carb off and see if we can spray starting fluid down the intake, and if that'll make a difference, because then we know it's the carb. Alright, so we're just going to spray down the intake and see if it'll fire. Alright, that didn't work. I'm gonna try it one more time. So I noticed on the Ghia that the distributor wasn't completely seated into the case. So I'm gonna just completely pull the distributor back up. I think there's something catching it from sitting all the way down in there, and then it's causing it to not spin the rotor because it's slipping out of that seat that it's supposed to sit in. So we're gonna go
pull it out, see what we got in the way.
So you can see right there, that's supposed to be sitting flush with that. Well, doesn't look too bad down there. So I think we just need to get it seated in there, right? Okay, now the distributor should be seated properly, and you can see the rotor move again. Alright, swap the coil out. Let's see if we get any spark now. I think we got it. I just want a second hand, so then we can have somebody spraying the starter fluid while I crank. Because for some reason when I hooked up the push button ignition switch, it was not getting any spark, but I hooked up the key and now we're getting spark again.
It cranks nicely.
Oh! Alright, so I'm gonna clean up the carb now. It started coughing when I put starter fluid down it, but I just want to get the carb cleaned up, run it off the carb instead of just putting it down the intake. So I'm gonna clean this up real quick, just take all the jets out, spray them with this carb cleaner, and clean the outside a little bit. It's not perfect, but we're gonna call that good. I'm gonna reassemble the carburetor. Alright, so our carburetor needs a little bit of, it needs a new connector on that end. So I'm going to put a new connector on that. Oh, I forgot a gasket. Got our intake gasket. Alright, I hooked up our fuel cutoff solenoid right here to the positive side, and then our choke. And I just swapped coils. I swapped back to the Bosch one because it didn't have enough posts on the other one. Alright, everything's hooked up. Let's try it. She's running. Can I keep it running? Here, record it. Record it. Hurry up. Hurry up. It's recording. Woo! Yeah. Oh. All right, that's it. The 72 Ghia is a runner. Thanks for watching. Bing.